Hey guys, I am Charles, your director here at Mission Control. Now, we have just had to deal with a little situation that just came up here. Someone inadvertently got Minecraft onto one of our devices. We had a few little bit of problem solving issues to work through there. Once we managed to work out the problem, Timmy, we got that mostly fixed up. Well, Hank had to work through a lot of stuff. Now, I'm going to hand you over to Dr. I Know It All, who will explain a little bit about that.
Yes, why thank you, Charles. I am a doctor, I know it all. And we are talking today, we had a few issues. I actually had to come back into the station. We got permission to do so. But yes, you see, someone had inadvertently gone onto a computer, found a device that was linked up to the shuttle's navigation, and they ended up playing Minecraft on it. So once we worked out and we managed to pry the iPad from that child, we were able to work through the issue and then let Hank know all the things he needed to do to get through that. That's where it's really important to practice and know all the things. And that's like our theme verse where it says, remember to keep doing the things that you have learned and received, heard and seen in me, and you'll have peace. Because when it gets quite stressful, it can be really bad. So we managed to get there. Hank listened to what he was supposed to do, so it was great this time. So it's good job on Hank, and I'm going to hand you back to Charles.
Thanks, Doc. Okay, so let's head up to the ship now and talk to Hank. We'll go live. Hey, Hank, how you going up there, mate?
Oh yeah, hi guys. Yeah, well that was pretty hairy, eh? But at least this time I knew to listen to what Mission Control had to say.
Yeah, it's really hard when you're up in space with problem solving because you got to sort of do it with us down here. But remember, Mission Control, we knew what the issue was. We worked it out and we were able to give you all the information that you needed. You just had to work some stuff out your end and make sure you followed what we said. But you did this time, which was great.
Yeah, I was tempted to play Minecraft when it came up, but I knew that I had to help reset the system, and so I was I kept the right idea. You.
Yeah. So what we'll do, I'll send you through a instructional video, another one of those documentaries with a resident expert and talking about other people before you who have actually had to go through and problem solve. So I'll load that up now, and here you go. Hey guys, Donald from St. Paul's Kids here.
Have you ever been in a situation where you've had a problem right in front of you, but the solution seems obvious? But to do it, you know you've got to do something that you shouldn't. But it seems easy. Just go do that. Just go take that. Just go say this to get out of trouble. Well, the guy in our story today, he got promised something amazing. He got promised he would be a king. And then one day, the person in his way was almost delivered to him by a platter. And he had a hard choice to make. And that's where we start our story off. But before that happened, that particular moment, the guy of our story, his name was Dave. He was just a shepherd boy. He had 7 brothers older than him. He was right down the pecking order in that stage. And back then, the youngest wasn't like now where everyone loves the youngest. He was the youngest and the forgotten, the working child. But one day, a prophet came into town and he said something amazing. He got David and he poured oil on his head, which is a bit weird for us now, I know, but back then, and what that means is a significant of someone being anointed or chosen for a task. And the prophet of all of Israel, Samuel, said to this little 12-year-old or maybe 17-year-old teenager boy, you are going to be the king of this country. Well, you can imagine what his brothers would have thought when they heard this guy say, what? But I imagine what David would have been like, this guy's pouring all over my head. What did he say? King of the country? What? But what about the king that's here now? What is Saul? What? as a young kid, like a young teen. And so his name, he became a leader in the army and a general. But Saul heard the people talk about David and what an amazing king he would make and what an awesome man he is. David wanted no bar of it. He knew what God had said in his promise to him. But he knew that it would be God's timing, not his. And so he had some problems he had to work through. Once that Saul even tried to have him killed. He got so angry at David that he literally took his army to hunt down David and a group of friends and other warriors that had gathered around David. And he would hunt them down. And it was like years that David had to spend in the wilderness, running away all the time because he didn't want to fight Saul. He didn't want to hurt him because as far as David was concerned, yes, God said he was going to be king, but he would be king on God's time, not his. So here was a guy who lived in a palace, a lovely house, lived in the king's own house, had a beautiful wife that was the king's own daughter. And yet the king was chasing him. He had to hide and sleep in the wild, in the caves, and squat mosquitoes at night. All because the king was jealous. And he knew that there was something about David, and that if he wasn't careful, David would replace him as king. And Saul wanted his kids to be king. He didn't care what God wanted. He wanted the power and the honor of his name. So he got word that David and some of his mates were camped out in this area in a special place that was this beautiful oasis around there. So Saul marched along. There was soldiers. David was warned that this was happening, so him and his soldiers, his mates, sort of hid in a cave. And wow, this is where David's opportunity happened. You see, what happened? Saul comes in, he sees this beautiful flowing stream, so he had some water. Then he thought, oh, I don't know about you guys, but if I eat, apricots or dried apricots, if you have a few too many or a few too many plums, Saul was thinking, oh, I shouldn't have had all those apricots. Uh-oh. Guys, I've just got to go in this cave. I just need to do something. So he runs into the cave, and then he took a position to make sure his cloak wasn't in the way so he couldn't get anything on him, and he did his business in a cave. Well, this is where it was interesting, because it was the very same cave that David and his mates were in. And they were like, it's Saul, David, it's Saul. He's got no guards around him. So Saul was doing what he was doing. They were like, David, go, now's your chance, you'll be king, go, just go. David pulled out a knife, snuck up behind Saul, trying not to breathe because it's a bit smelly, and he got his cloak, ever so quietly, took a piece of the cloak off, stuck it in his pocket, and walked back. David's mates, what are you doing, David? No, you can't. Go in and kill him. Kill him. No. Saul finished doing his thing, shall we say. Oh, that felt much better. And off he walked. And then David starts moving forward. What are you doing? You're a bit late, man. You could have got him easy. You could have got him easy. He stands up. King Saul! Saul. He turned around. And there, looking back at him, was the man who he considered his biggest threat in his life, David. And David was there looking at him. And he said, Saul, my lord, my king, why are you hunting your servant David? I could have killed you in that cave, holding up the garment of the cloak. Saul looked at his cloak.
Saul's guards were ready to, oh, the boss is going to be angry at this one. Sorry, boss. David held up the cloak, the piece that he cut. My lord and king, I would not ever harm you. You are God's chosen king. I am your servant and I will never hurt you. Saul put his hands in his head. He realized the muppet mistake he had done. And he said, oh, David, I'm so sorry. Come back. All's forgiven, mate. I'm so sorry. But David he's a bit smarter. He knew that he just didn't trust Saul. Oh, my lord and king, it's okay. You're all good. I'm fine here. But please, I would never hurt you. I would never do anything to harm you. Sorry, David. Sorry. We'll head on over here to carry on and get some Philistines because I hear that they were close. Cheers, mate. He went off, took his army away. David's men were like, oh, David, what were you thinking? That was your chance. You could have killed him easy. He was hunting you. Everyone would have thought, yeah, that's fine. Well, we get that. That's the right thing to do. It was a weird time back then. And he said, shh, guys, Saul was chosen by the living God to be king. Yes, God's told me I'm going to be king, but it's going to be in his timing. I'm not going to look at this problem and go, Saul's chasing me all around the desert, and he's probably going to do it again, guys. I don't trust him. But I am not going to kill someone that God's set there. It's wrong. Especially while he's going to the toilet, guys. Come on. But that was David's heart. He was known as a man after God's heart. Now, he made mistakes. Did he? What? But he always knew that when he made a mistake and someone reminded him about it, he would listen and he would work a solution. And the solution was prayer and saying, you know what, God, I'm so sorry. I have made a huge mistake. Please, Jesus, please, God, forgive me. He pleaded and he trusted God. And the Psalms are full of David's journal entries of him saying how much he trusts God. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall have nothing I don't need. You make all my enemies lay down before me. Prepare a table. You show them how special I am to you. He loved God. And he knew that no problem was too big for his God. Well, that's me, guys. I'm going to hand you guys back to the team, and we'll see you later.
Oh, yeah, right. So, just know that it isn't always going to be easy, and there's going to be problems that are going to come up. But don't be tempted to take the easy way and do the wrong thing, rather than just work through and problem solve and do the right thing. Cool. Yeah. Good one.
Yeah, that's right. Brilliant, Hack. That's the way. It's really important to make sure that you actually know that you're going to have problems in life, but it's about knowing how to work through them and not take the shortcuts. That's really important. I'm glad you didn't start playing Minecraft as well on there. But we just got to remember that theme verse, which is keep doing the things that you have learned and received and heard and seen in me, and the God of peace will be with you. So on that note, we'll catch you later, Hank, and we'll see you guys later. This is Charles, out.